Hey everybody, welcome to Gardening with the Landscape Connection. My name is Michelle. I live in Northern Illinois and I'm in Zone 5. I own a garden center, but I'm a home gardener just like you, and I used to be a landscaper. Well, I guess I can't really say that because we are at my friend Mindy's house and we are landscaping. So I guess I'm not retired, but I do only a few projects every year. Really, I look for ones that interest me, or I'm doing it for a friend or somebody that I really like. So I do end up doing 2 or 3 projects a year. So Mindy, I actually met her through the garden center. She comes to a lot of my classes. She shops at the store. So I just got to know her through that. And she asked me to come and do a landscape design for her. And when we started the whole project, it was going to be a DIY. She was going to do it herself. But then once I did the design and I was at her house and I saw everything, it was kind of like we just collaborated together, and I decided to bring my team over and we just installed it for her. So we did a video earlier where we did the beginning of it, where we did around the patio that's right outside of her back door, and it was the mini backyard makeover, and that was a couple weeks ago. And if you haven't seen that, it's a really good video and I really think it turned out fabulous. Now, the patio was already here, so she had some structure and she had some really cool things that we were able to stage throughout the area that we did. Well, the other thing that happened when I first came to do the design, there was a berm that was like right behind her house that separated her property from another property, and there was 3 big white pine trees there that we had a big windstorm that came through, and it took like half the trees out, and the debris was all over and there was weeds all underneath it. Well, by the time I finished the design for the patio area and came back to show it to her, the neighbor lady had cut the trees down, and then it was just like this big open ugly looking berm, which I showed you a picture of in that first video. So when we were here doing the landscaping around the patio, I ended up spraying out that area for the weeds because we didn't want to wait for things to be smothered out. So we sprayed it out and we came back. It's been about 2.5 weeks since we were here, and we just installed the berm. So there was a video that we put up earlier where we came and I showed you us taking all the weeds out and putting the edging in, and we went and got the outcropping, and then we put the outcropping in place, and then we started planting everything. Then my phone overheated and I was like, well, that's the end of that video. We'll post it and then we'll just do a reveal video. So that's what we're here doing now. We are going to do the reveal video, and I can tell you, this I think is turned out so fabulous. Mindy hasn't seen it yet, and I can't wait for her to get home. I hope she is as excited about it as I am, because I think, sometimes how you put something together and then you're just like, oh, that is so awesome. I just look at this and I'm like, oh, this is so awesome. I can't wait for it to grow up. I can't wait to see it next year as it matures a little bit. But even right now, sometimes you put a new landscaping in it. Everything's babies, and it's not as great looking as it would look when it's full grown, but this one looks great. And I can tell you, I really did make sure that when I did the berm, I started with my height in the back and I worked my way down. I used all 4 of my colors that I talked about that really, I think, help pull a landscape together, and that's the blue, the red, the yellow, and the green. And I think when you can get all 4 of those colors into an area, it just makes it all really cohesive and come together. The other thing is, we have pops of color up there, and I think that that is fabulous as well. This is a really super low maintenance berm that we did for her. All of the conifers that we put in are no prunes, so she doesn't have to go and prune those. And if she doesn't want to prune the Woodgilias, she never has to prune those either. And let's see, what does she really have to cut up there? Well, she probably will have to trim her rose back in the spring after, the danger of frost is over. She will probably need to prune that back, and she'll have to cut back the nepeta, and she'll have to cut back the grasses, and then she'll have to head back the hydrangeas and take off like the plumes that are left over at the end of the year. But other than that, this thing is just going to grow. Well, she has to make sure she has good cultural practices too. Unfortunately, there was nothing that we could do about the weeds that are on the other side of the berm. And there are some pretty big weeds over there. There's thistle, and it's going to drop seed all over the place. And all we can do is put down pre-emergent. Because even if we had used fabric, one, I think the mulch would have just slid off the fabric and slid down, the embankment. So I don't know that that would have done her any good. And guess what? Weed seed will grow right on top of that as well. So that was just another step that she didn't need to pay for. So I think having better cultural practices, like putting that pre-emergent down 2 and 3 times a year so that new weed seed doesn't germinate, that's going to serve her so much better. The other thing is, you know what? If you're going to have this kind of landscaping, and she is a gardener, so she will come out into the gardens, you have to go out into the garden and look at your landscaping and get the baby weeds when they're babies, and don't let them get out of control. Unfortunately, there'll be nothing that we can do about the weeds that are behind her unless the neighbor takes care of them, because as a landscaper that got paid to do this job, I can't go on the neighbor's property without permission. I can only work on the property that I was given permission to work on. The other thing is, make sure that if you are doing any landscaping at your home, that you do call the utility company or Julie, so that you know that where all your utilities are. So I don't know that I ever said that in any of the videos that we did about this property, but we did Julie it twice, because, you know, we needed to know where those utilities were, so that if we were digging holes, putting in edging or whatever, we knew where those were and we weren't going to hit them, or we adjusted one way or the other. Now, the other thing that we did in this big burn that I don't know that I really talked about, there were the 3 stumps were left in this landscape. 2 of them we covered over and we planted strategically in front of them so that the plants will grow and kind of hide them. The other one is kind of elevated a little bit and it's still in the bed and you can see it, but I don't think it takes away from the bed. I think that it kind of fits right in with the outcropping that we put in, that little 2-man, 3-man outcropping. And yeah, so let's go ahead and take you through and show you the landscaping. I think it's fabulous. So let me get up, because I actually want to go like around to the side of the house and like show you the approach as you're coming, because it's so cool. Okay, are you ready? Man, my hair is a hot mess. It was misting this morning and it curls right up when it gets wet. But here we go. We're gonna go down the side of the house and then I'll take you around the corner. I just think it's all that. It's so good. All right, let me flip the camera. Here we go. So this is the side of her house. And when I first came, all of these hostas and everything that she's just kind of dumped into this bed here as a temporary holding area, this is the stuff that was in the berm. But when those trees came down, guess what? No more shade for the hostas, so they had to move. So right now they're in this temporary bed right here. But check this out. As you come around the corner, this is her new backyard. Isn't this glorious? I am so excited for how good this turned out. We've got the raised garden beds here. We've got the 2 big charcoal flagstones as the approach to the patio. And then, you know, you come up onto the patio and they've got this beautiful shaded area that they can sit under. But then look at that view. It's not weeds anymore. Now, there's nothing I can do about the big weeds that are back there, but once everything starts to grow, because it can take 3 to 5 years for this stuff to start to get bigger, it will fill in and she's not going to see a lot of those weeds. Isn't this just glorious? I love this backyard. I can hang out here for hours. I hope she calls me and invites me over for a drink and we can hang it on the patio. This is our approach into the backyard. Now the neighbors are doing something here because they do live in a condo, so we didn't do anything over here. That's somebody else's project. So our project starts right here at the corner and it goes all the way over here. So I just think this turned out so great. So as you can see, we've got the limelight primes. We've got one there and another one there, and the third one is over here. We've got those pops of yellow in there with the Heliopsis. I'm gonna kind of get in front of it here and back up a little bit so I can kind of talk about what we did. Make sure I don't fall down going up this little hill here. Okay, so we did put the outcropping in here. That's the 2-man, 3-man. So this is, it's called Chilton, is the name of the outcropping that we used. And then we also used junipers throughout. So we have junipers here. We have another one there, there, and there. And junipers are great when you're trying to have erosion control. They make a good rooting system for you. Another one that works well for you are grasses. So we do have the Cheyenne Sky right here. And we put the other one right there. There's a chipmunk at my feet. I hope he doesn't attack my toes. All right, we scattered the Nepeta throughout. So we have some here, we have a piece there, we have a couple more down there, and then we did take the other one over here. We've got the Woodgillia over here, and this is the spilled wine. And then we put the larger one, which will get bigger, over here by the bench. So that's your purple. Then we have, it's kind of hard to see, but you have our cedar right here. Because look at that weed. Oh my God, that weed is so huge. And then we've got the blue globe spruce here. And then we put the Mops Fall cypress in there. I just think that this is so beautiful. I love this outcropping. I love the edge that we put in. Now over here, we just added some seed over here. She'll have to keep it watered so it'll come up. And you can see some things are looking droopy because I just watered everything in. But isn't this beautiful? I just think I'm in love. I hope she loves it too. There's the big tree trunk. Look at those Nana junipers. Now those are going to fill in this whole area right here. They stay really low to the ground, but they're going to get 4 to 5 feet wide. So they're going to fill that in beautifully. And there's a third one up there. That Nepeta will grow and kind of hang over the outcropping. There's our rose right there. There's our Cheyenne Sky grass. This is our bird's nest spruce. We put that right there. We staged our bench right there, and then behind the bench we have the north wind grasses. So those are going to get about 6 feet tall. They're babies right now. Everything's babies right now. Come over this way. Make sure I don't trip over this tree trunk. All right, and see we got 2 more north wind grasses there. So those are going to be your first layer. So those are going to get 6 feet. These get about 3 feet. And then this is going to get 6 by 6. This will end up getting 20 feet, grows about 2 feet a year. But see, we layered it as you're coming down. It's all nice and layered. I'm trying to walk backwards without stepping on anything. All right, hold on. I have to fix. Right there, you can see my foot. My big footprint right there. But there it is. And then here's our edgers right here. We use the same edgers here that we used on the patio. Okay, back up on the patio, we brought her a hibiscus that she asked for. This one is the Edge of Night. It's the dark foliage one that gets the bubblegum pink. And then it's got some veining that runs through it. It's kind of ruffly. So she's going to actually pot that up and put it someplace. I'm not sure where. But see, look at her little hydrangeas. Those are the Invincible Spirits too. Those are looking good. Everything looks so good. Her alliums are starting to bloom. And everything's a little bit early because, you know, when it's in the pot, they're always early. But everything will fill out and be gorgeous. I just think this is fabulous. I love this. So just one more time as you're coming around the corner, I think it's so peaceful and beautiful. And when it grows up, it's just going to be even better. Oh, I can't wait till she sees this. I think she's going to be ecstatic. I know, 2 videos in one day. But I wanted to make sure that you got to see it from start to finish. It took us not very long to do the berm. We actually, the first part, we were here for 2 days. And the berm part, we got here right around, 7:30. And we were done by 11. So it didn't take that long. But, you know, many hands makes light the work, as they say. And I have some pretty good guys that work for us. And so they are fabulous. And I certainly couldn't have done this as fast without them. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the reveal. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is all we've got at Mindy's house. Her complete backyard makeover is now done. And next week, stay tuned. We are going to start the cottage garden. Yay! So I get my own little backyard makeover. Except mine is in the backyard. We're going to be working around that big, it looks like a barn, but it's really just a big shed at the house. And we're going to be doing the cottage garden. So stay tuned for that. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. Leave your comments below. I'd love to hear from you. I'm Michelle. We'll talk to you in the next one. Bye, everybody.